or as one of my college professors put it, to the man with only a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. Hi, my name is Tim, and welcome to Value and Pricing Secrets. Back in the day, at the Montessori School of Golden, Colorado, my son Sean was known as Mr. Fix-It. Even at 10 years old, teachers knew to come to him with mechanical problems. In one case, a car door wouldn't close, despite best adult efforts. When Sean looked at it, he quickly determined the latch was tripped and solved the problem. Door closed and school trip could commence. It wasn't that Sean could solve harder problems. It was that he could see things differently. Why explore alternative pricing models? Because doing so will let you see things differently. In too many cases, I see firms employing the same model over and over when it is obvious to me that another model would be better in their situation and the potential business impact would be sizable. Before we move on, let me respectfully ask for your support. My commitment is to bring you world-class value and pricing content on this channel. If you want more, you need to like, comment, and subscribe. It's the only way YouTube can understand that you value this content and want more of it. Thank you. Any discussion of valuing and pricing your offerings has to begin with a discussion of the profit impact of the price decisions you make. The simple fact is that a focus on pricing can make a company a lot of money. This simple table illustrates the impact of a change in price on the typical company. For the typical company, if they have a price of $100 for a product or service, then the cost of that product or service is $90, and the profit they make is $10. That's the status quo. If you can capture just a 1% premium on price, that is, raise the price from $100 to $101, your costs don't change, but your profits go from $10 to $11. That's a 10% increase. So the point here is that for the typical company, and you'll have to check your own financials to understand what the impact would be in your case. But for the typical company, a simple 1% improvement in price performance translates into a 10% improvement in profitability. Of course, the opposite's also true. A 1% discount, that is dropping your price from $100 to $99, the cost remains the same at $90, so the profit drops to $9. That is, a 1% discount in price translates into a 10% discount in profitability. So profits are enormously sensitive to pricing decisions. And that's the primary reason that companies focus on valuing and pricing their offerings. Now, the good news is that 1% doesn't have to be a lot of money. On a $50,000 sale, it's only $500. And on a $5 million sale, it's only $50,000. So let me ask you something. When you've tried to improve something by 1%, have you been successful? Of course. And I challenge you to pick up one simple idea from this video that you can take back and implement to have a demonstrable impact on the profitability of your company. Beyond the 1%, what is realistically achievable? Well, I believe that a focus on pricing can often translate into improvements from 2% to 20% on the top line of a business, with enormous bottom line potential. Pricing strategy drives higher profitability, better customer communications, and improved sales effectiveness. For this video, I want to talk about profitability. These are data from a specific research study of professional service organizations, but a swath of other studies across a variety of industries show similar results. Profits improve with more sophisticated pricing models. In particular, Shifting from cost-based to value-based pricing triples net income in this case. Price is widely regarded as the single most powerful lever to drive profitability. When I was hired to be the VP of Value and Pricing, the president of the firm told me my primary task was to drive more profits. Well, if that's the case, why don't all firms shift to value-based pricing? Let's dive a little deeper. As you're probably aware, there are three primary pricing models: cost-based pricing, market-based pricing, and value-based pricing. Outcome-based pricing has recently emerged also as a subset of value-based pricing. So how are these three different? In my view, each is different in its approach, in the information required, and the rules required for success. Let's start with cost-based pricing. The approach is to cover your costs. In other words, you develop an offering, a product or service, you decide how much that offering costs, and you cover those costs with your pricing. What informational question do you need to ask? Well, what is the cost? And that's actually not a simple question, as those of you who've investigated costs will know. Although costs are readily available, and that's one of the advantages of cost-based pricing. Success means you would hit a target profit margin. Now, some would argue cost-based pricing is for chumps, but I've seen multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar professional services businesses do quite nicely with cost-based pricing. Let's move to market-based pricing, or competitor-based pricing, as it's sometimes known. What's the approach? The approach is to match the market or the competitive price. What's the information you need? Well, the question you need to ask is, what is the market price? In some sense, market-based pricers don't have a choice. They must take the market price. Think of commodity prices here. If you're selling pork bellies, you've got to meet the pork belly market price in order to sell your product. If you're selling coal, you've got to meet the market price in order to sell your product. Success, therefore, is to close the sale and then make a profit. This is an important point. Success in market-based pricing is a two-step process. First, you make the sale, and unless you meet the market price, you can't close the deal. So you manage your cost then to make a profit. What's value-based pricing? The approach is to price for value relative to the competition. Let me give a couple of brands here to illustrate the point. Honda versus Acura. I had an Acura for a number of years. I loved the car and would take it to my local repair shop, which was called Honda Acura Repair. And they did a fine job with the car, but they were sued and put out of business by Honda Motor Corporation. Why did they do that? Honda told them that the words Honda and Acura could not appear on the same sign on the same building. They put them out of business. Notice, Honda dealers and Acura dealers are always in separate buildings. The important point when you price for value relative to the competition is you're using price to position your offering. The price of a Honda versus the price of the Acura are important positioning points. So what information do you need? Well, what is the value relative to the competition? And I can guarantee you that the value difference between Honda and Acura is a lot greater than the difference in cost. What is success? Success is to capture a fair share of the differential value created, consistent with your business objectives. And finally, what's outcome-based pricing? This has emerged more prominently lately because information systems have emerged that make it more and more possible as a viable pricing option. What's the approach? You have a conversation with customers and agree on the outcome, on the metric that you're going to measure the outcome, and on the payment terms you're going to have. What's the information? Well, what is an objectively measurable, validatable metric for the outcome that you want to achieve? And finally, what's the rule for success? Am I paid based on the achievement of the outcome? Now, before we move on, let me respectfully ask for your support once again. My commitment is to bring you world-class value and pricing content on this channel. If you want more, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe. It's the only way that YouTube understands that you value this content and want more of it. Moving on, I want to ask an a priori question. What is a pricing model anyway? Pricing models are actually belief systems and part of your company culture. Simply put, it's how we do pricing around here. Now, despite my fear of offending half the people I'm talking to, I'm going to use religion as an example. Religious beliefs guide your behaviors. If you're a Muslim, Friday is your day of worship. If you are Jewish, it is Saturday, and Christians celebrate on Sunday. Belief systems guide behavior. Now, before I get into real trouble, here's my point. The big idea is that organizations tend to coalesce around an individual model. If your business culture is sales-centric, for example, then you're more inclined to use market-based pricing, so your prices don't get in the way of sales. A more finance-centric culture will likely employ cost-based pricing because they want to cover their costs and hit a predictable target margin. In both cases, though, price decision makers may miss value pricing opportunities because they are not part of their culture, their belief system, or as one of my college professors put it, to the man with only a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. To be an effective pricing leader in your company, you need to understand that multiple pricing models are necessary because different market situations and different organizational realities call for different models. With that knowledge, you can work within your culture to improve your business. Diagnostic on your business now. Here are the characteristics of the 4 pricing models: cost-based, market-based, value-based, and outcome-based. And I would suggest you look at the line that is described as approach. Which one is dominant in your business? Is there one particular model? If yes, please add a comment and tell me what the model is and why it's used in your business. Or does the pricing model used depend on the part of the business you're in? If yes, again, please add a comment and explain why that's the case. For example, in many tech firms, new products are priced for value, professional services are priced cost plus, and business process outsourcing is outcome-based. And while you're doing this, let me make an editorial comment. Value-based pricing is not always the answer, though you would think so from all the so-called experts. Is it directionally correct? Absolutely. Are most businesses ready to do it? Absolutely not. Start from where you are. If you're a cost-based pricer, that's fine. Do what you can to improve your situation. Make some money, prove you know what you're doing, and take the next step. Remember, the goal is not to be a value pricer, though that could be an important topic for conversation at a cocktail party. The real goal is to improve your business's performance through better pricing practices. And if you do that, then perhaps you can host the next cocktail party. Once again, if this is of value to you, please subscribe for more and smash the like button. Let me summarize now with the best uses of each of the models. For cost-based pricing, it's best when you need pricing quickly with little cost or effort. As you know, the information, the costs are readily available and finance is happy to help. Or it's useful in situations where variable costs are high and risks are high. Professional services is a perfect example where cost-based pricing is routinely used and can be used quite well. Or use it when you're the low price leader. For example, Walmart can be a cost-based pricer because that's their entire strategy. Is they beat up their suppliers, get the costs low, and then become a cost-based pricer with the lowest prices. Market-based pricing is typically best in a mature market where the offering is simple. Again, think of pork bellies, think of coal, think of candy bars. Or in markets with many customers and competitors, and there's limited differentiation. That is, most of the offerings are similar. What about value-based pricing? Well, use value-based pricing when your offerings are complex, highly differentiated, and when your deal size is large. Think about it. Your biggest customers don't care what the market price is. They want to know what your price is for them. Value-based pricing also can be magnificent, absolutely supercalifragilisticexpialidocious great when it comes to new products and services. And when your market is comprised of relatively few large customers. Outcome-based pricing is best when you operate in a well-defined vertical. Why is that important? Because you need to understand your market. If you're going to get in bed with customers and price your services based on an outcome they're going to get, you better know their business. Or when an outcome metric is objectively definable and validatable. And finally, there needs to be very high trust between you as the supplier and your customer, because you're counting on them to pay. If you improve their performance, they're going to be paying more, and you're counting on that. So with that, thank you very much for joining me at Value and Pricing Secrets.